Not too much longer until the release of Doom: The Dark Ages, and it is definitely worth the wait. I was fortunate enough to get a review copy of the game and have spent a lot of time digging into the gameplay, the lore, and new features we can expect in this new installment of the Doom series. A huge shout out to both Bethesda and id Software for letting me check out the game early. They were awesome to work with, and I really appreciate everything that they have done for my channel. Although I am a huge Doom fan and love everything Doom related, I wanted to have a review that was somewhat unbiased and worthwhile for those who may still be on the fence about getting this game. Also, there may be some minor spoilers ahead, but I won't be talking about the story or information past a certain point in the game. There is a lot to talk about, and I'll jump right into it. Before I get going, if you're new here and like the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Alright, let's get going. After playing most of the campaign, I've had the opportunity to really see what new features, levels, and enemies this game has to offer. I was immediately blown away from the first few levels. You are put right into the action and gradually increase in both progression and difficulty with each new level you complete. For some games it takes a little while to get things going at the start, but this game is much like Eternal, and you get things rolling along quickly. id Software did an amazing job for showcasing what it's like to play as a tank instead of a fighter jet this time around. You can really feel the weight of the Slayer by hearing his loud footsteps as you run through the battlefield, or when you land on the ground from high above, obliterating all demons nearby with a shockwave, or when you demolish a demon when you dash into them with a shield. Both Doom 2016 and Eternal made the Slayer appear as the beast that he is, but the Dark Ages is on a whole nother level. When you first load up the game, the main menu is as metal as it gets. The settings and the options are beyond customizable thanks to the hard work that id Software puts into optimizing the experience for every player. We've seen the Doom guy face on the UI before, and you can switch it from nothing to the blue hologram version and to the old school face, which still has the same animations when you take a lot of damage. Other great added features are the ability to change the color of the parry attacks from the default green to any color you want. I accidentally discovered this by having it changed to a blue color, but then switched it back to green. So if you want that hot pink projectile flying at you, that is totally an option. There are a lot of different options available for PC gamers and even console players as well. One thing that does bum me out a little is that the UI does not have the same customization like Eternal, where you can change the color scheme like the Sentinel theme or the Demon color theme, if you know what I mean. There is the possibility that id Software can add some options in the future, but then again, how often are you going to spend time in the settings? It is a modern Doom game, and there are a lot of options within the settings like the key bindings, graphics, accessibility, and the sound. Speaking of sound, the soundtrack is really good. Finishing Move did an excellent job with executing a worthy soundtrack for a modern Doom game. The music fits in the right places, such as the ambient sounds in between battles, and right before a boss fight or big arena, the music starts to pick up and get heavier. Doom Eternal had some banger tracks, and the Dark Ages is definitely up there. I wouldn't necessarily say it's better than Mick Gordon's stuff, but the music is really good. I feel like Mick set the bar high for the modern Doom games, but Finishing Move is way up there, and to some people they may have gone above the bar. Music is always subjective, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Other great additions that add to the playability and incentive to explore each level is the return of the toy collectibles, weapon skins, and a 3D model view of the weapons and characters. Without spoiling anything, you need to find the Surat toy collectible. The animation is very memorable. Instead of randomly finding these toys throughout each level, they will usually be locked in a room or secret location that is difficult to find. The key to find most of those locked rooms closely resembles the Slayer Gate keys from Doom Eternal. On the topic of Slayer Gates, the Dark Ages does not have any of them this time around. Instead, there are plenty of challenging arenas where you will fight a leader who is a stronger demon that oftentimes will possess an upgrade, mini bosses, and champion boss fights. Plus, as you progress through the campaign, you'll upgrade your weapons and come across new enemies to face off against like the Agadon Hunter or the Vagary. I can't forget to mention how each difficulty can really change the gameplay and affect your playstyle. Each difficulty will have their modifiers set to a default setting, but you can always adjust them to your liking. Maybe you like playing on Ultra Violence and want to lower the damage taken by enemies or increase the Slayer's damage. On top of that, there are more difficulty options this time around. Among one of the new difficulties is Pandemonium. It is somewhere between Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. The difference is that you can collect the extra lives or life sigils, and if you die while having them, you will restart from the start of the level. If you die without any sigils, it's game over. I think this is a great difficulty to practice Ultra Nightmare runs since it will practically be the same thing, but with some added mercy. With Nightmare, you can die as many times as you want, but Pandemonium steps it up a little bit, but not to the effect of Ultra Nightmare, unless you don't collect any sigils. I can't wait to see if Pandemonium will indeed help players get better who are working towards their Ultra Nightmare runs. I still haven't beaten both 2016 and Eternal on Ultra Nightmare, but we'll see how this goes now with the added levels to successfully complete. In every Doom game, the weapons are the main focus, and this time around, they don't disappoint. Every weapon feels like it serves a purpose, but you'll probably find the weapons you like more and use them more often. Just like in Doom Eternal, the microwave mod on the plasma rifle wasn't a fan favorite for a while, until it was necessary to use in the Ancient Gods DLCs. Now I use it quite often in the base campaign. Same goes for this game. After playing it for over 20 hours so far, I can say that I use the Shredder and Cycler more often than the Skull Crusher, or the Rocket Launcher more than the Grenade Launcher. Of course, with it being a new game and different weapons, the more you play it, you'll find how your playstyle will be. The weapons are set up differently by a class, such as the Shotgun class, and then having both the Combat Shotgun and the Super Shotgun. You can switch between each class on the fly, change up the pace, or switch to a specific weapon for certain kinds of enemies. For one thing, weapon quick switching is not really a benefit in this game. By all means, you could quick switch, but there is a slight delay from switching weapons. The game was intended to use your melee weapons, shield, and guns together, allowing the ability to create some awesome combos. The whole melee system has been streamlined this time. Doom 2016's melee was practically non-existent, and Doom Eternal's was completely useless unless you had Blood Punch charged up and ready to use. In the Dark Ages, even the first melee weapon, which is the Power Gauntlet, makes the experience way more fun to play. As you progress in the game, you'll be able to upgrade the melee weapons, and I can't tell you how much fun I'm having constantly dashing into an Arachnotron with the shield, using the flail to break its armor. There is an Arachnotron with armor, which is pretty cool to see, and then finish him off with a blast of my Super Shotgun. There are so many ways to take out enemies alongside the new Glory Kill system. Glory kills are done a bit differently compared to the last two games, but I think it works well and provides a smooth transition from blasting one enemy, going to another to smack them with your flail, and then cut a Cyber Demon in half with your shield. The game itself is super long to play, 22 levels to be exact. I haven't finished the game yet and only got up to level 15, but it feels like I've already played over 20 levels. Granted, some levels are shorter than others, but the long ones like the Siege level can take a while to finish each arena and discover all the secrets. It makes sense that the campaign is longer than the other games since there is only a campaign and no multiplayer. I think this was a good approach. The last two games had a multiplayer, but not everybody was on board with them, and that's totally fine. I feel like there needs to be a bigger focus on single player anyway, and this one is definitely worth the time to explore, fight every arena, and change up the pace with piloting an Atlan mech and a Mecha Dragon. The levels where you get to pilot both the Atlan and the Dragon are fun, but they do get a little repetitive over time. I feel like those sections are done well to give you some change of pace and fulfill that fantasy of flying a deadly dragon and piloting a mech much like the Jaeger in Pacific Rim. Earlier this year, when the reveals were starting to show up for the game, I thought we could upgrade both the Atlan and Dragon in the sense of having more abilities, stronger weapons, etc. Unfortunately, the only things that you can really change are the skins, which do look really cool in my opinion, and in the different Atlan sections you do get different weapons. Who knows, maybe in the DLC we can upgrade them and have more abilities. id Software did a great job with adding the Sentinel Hammer in the Ancient Gods Part 2 in Doom Eternal, so they could always find a way to add on to the experience. A big part of the experience that I've loved from the Doom games all the way back to Doom 3 were the cinematic introduction to new enemies. This is back in a big way with some of the first bosses you encounter, even some regular demons as well. Most of the time it's a quick cutscene introducing them, and it works well. I still remember the intro for the Vagary in Doom 3 and the first Imp in Doom 2016. Quick intros, but lasting memories of who you are fighting. There are a lot of new enemies in the Dark Ages, and they are fun to fight against. Hugo Martin has said that there will be a Marauder type enemies to fight against, and there definitely are. But thanks to the stand and fight mentality, you can parry the attacks with ease. I first thought that parrying attacks would get too repetitive, but after a while, I can't get enough of it. It is so satisfying to parry an attack and then go in for the glory kill for some of those weaker demons. Now, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that bummed me out a little bit, but thankfully they are mostly little things and nuances that aren't game breakers for me. One thing I noticed was the lack of enemies in some areas. After playing so many Doom games, you come to an area and immediately think that there's going to be a big battle here. Except there isn't. There are a ton of arenas and battles to encounter in each level, but I hope that id Software will do what they did with the Ancient Gods Part 2 and add some more demons into the levels. There is a lot of emptiness at the start of some levels, but that isn't always bad. The level of Sentinel Prime in Doom Eternal had no fighting until the very end of the level. It was done that way so the player can understand more about the Slayer and how he started as an outsider and became a well-renowned leader among the Sentinel people. Sometimes levels need to have some breathing space to help build on the story, and I get that. But I hope there can be more enemies in other empty places, especially the bigger levels. Another thing I already mentioned was the UI and how you can't customize it to have its own theme like Eternal had. I'm sure there will be an update down the road for that, and of course it's really not that big of a deal. The Fortress of Doom was a great idea to have in Eternal, where you would have ways to upgrade your gear, practice punishing demons in the RipNtear, playing some OG Doom on the PC, or checking out your collectibles that you found throughout the campaign. The Dark Ages is going more for that Doom 2016 approach, where you just transition to each new level in the story and not have a hub of sorts to return to. I think it works the way it is, but it would have been nice to have a hub to return to and break up the gameplay every once in a while. The last thing I noticed was that fast travel is not an option this time. I really liked it in Doom Eternal, especially when I missed a collectible and get to the end of the level. I could travel to that past location, get the collectible, and then finish the level. There are a lot of sections in each level that has a point of no return, so if you miss something, you will need to replay the level. This may not be ideal for completionists, but if you're enjoying the game, it doesn't hurt to replay the level again at a later time. I don't know if that will ever be added into the game in the future update, but something to consider. When you play the game and you care about finding secrets, just make sure you do your due diligence before progressing too far into the level. Overall, Doom the Dark Ages is a great addition to the Doom franchise. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and it's crazy to think that we're already here with a new Doom game that will be available soon to everyone. It feels like Doom Eternal came out only a year or two ago. I've been hearing from other people that have been having a blast with it as well, and I think this game is definitely worth the value you get coming from id Software. This is definitely a Doom game at its core. Even with the new Atlan and Mecha Dragon sections, you'll still feel like an unstoppable force that cuts through the demon horde with ease. The game is challenging and will force you to think outside of the box in certain scenarios. It definitely has a learning curve for sure, but after the first few levels, you'll get the hang of it. Just trust the process and it will fall into place. It feels rewarding to beat each new boss you face up against, and plowing through wave after wave of enemies is satisfying to say the least. I would highly recommend this game, not just because I love Doom, but I genuinely know you will have a great time with it. It's different in its own way and can't really compare to Doom Eternal too much, but I appreciate the new direction they went with this game and allow us to experience this part of the Doomslayer's journey. Let me know what you guys think about Doom the Dark Ages. Are you going to get it right away, or are you going to wait on it? Let me know down in the comment section. It was great to play the Dark Ages early, and expect to see more exclusive videos in the coming weeks ahead regarding this game. I hope you all enjoyed my early impressions of the game, and if you liked what you see here, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hope you all have a great one, and don't forget to rip and tear. Peace.